Come on, man, one more shot before you're a married man. Ryan slammed another glass down in front of me, his grin stretching ear to ear. I laughed. Already feeling the alcohol blur the edges of reality. I think I've had enough, Ryan, enough. Tomorrow you're giving up your freedom forever. Tonight, we celebrate. He poured the whiskey anyway, and I didn't stop him. The bar was loud, packed with our college buddies and groomsmen. Everyone was laughing, telling embarrassing stories about me. Toasting to my upcoming wedding to Emma. Just thinking her name made me smile. 5 years together, and tomorrow she'd finally be my wife. Hey, isn't that? Ryan's voice cut through my thoughts. I followed his gaze across the bar, and my heart skipped. Sophia. My ex-girlfriend from 7 years ago. She looked exactly the same, long dark hair. That confident smile, the way she moved through a crowd like she owned. It's holy shit, it is her, Ryan said, elbowing me. You should go say hi, for old time's sake. I don't think that's a good idea. Why not? Emma's not here. It's just saying hello to an old friend, unless you're scared. He was teasing. But the challenge was there. The alcohol made the decision easier. Fine, just to say hi. I walked over, my heart pounding. When Sophia saw me, her face lit up. Oh my god, is that really you? She said, pulling me into a hug that lasted a second too long. Yeah, it's me. How have you been? Good. Sit down, tell me everything. We started talking, and it felt like no time had passed. We laughed about our old college adventures, remembered inside jokes I'd forgotten. And before I knew it, 2 hours had disappeared. I looked around and realized Ryan and the other guys were gone. Where did everyone go? I asked. Sophia shrugged. They left about an hour ago. You didn't notice? My phone buzzed. A text from Ryan. Had to head out. You looked busy, lol. See you tomorrow at the wedding. I should probably get going too, I said. But I didn't stand up, or Sophia said, leaning closer. We could grab coffee at my place? It's just around the corner. We're having such a good time catching up. I should have said no. I should have called Emma, told her I was on my way home. But the nostalgia and the alcohol clouded everything. Yeah, okay, coffee sounds good. We walked out together, and I didn't look back. Sunlight stabbed through unfamiliar curtains, and I bolted awake with immediate, crushing panic. This wasn't my apartment. This wasn't my bed. And the woman sleeping next to me wasn't Emma. Oh God, what did I do? My phone was on the nightstand, screen filled with notifications. 17 missed calls from Emma, 12 from Mom, dozens of texts from the wedding party. It was 11 a.m. I was supposed to be at the venue at 9 a.m. for final preparations. Sophia stirred, stretching casually like this was a normal morning. Good morning, want some coffee? I have to go right now. She walked to the kitchen, completely unfazed. Relax. It was just one night. We were just joking around, playing pretend like old times. Emma doesn't need to know. Her words made me sick. This wasn't a joke. This was real, and I did this. This was a mistake, I said, grabbing my clothes from the floor. Oh, come on, don't be dramatic. You had fun, didn't you? I didn't answer. I just ran out in the car. My hands shook on the steering wheel. I needed a story, a lie, something. I fell asleep at Ryan's place. My phone died. I had too much to drink and passed out. Emma would understand, right? She had to understand. When I opened our apartment door, my breath caught. Emma stood in the living room, wearing her wedding dress. Tears streamed down her face, mascara smudged beneath her red eyes. My mother was there, disappointment carved into every line of her face. And Jessica, Emma's maid of honor, stood with her arms crossed, fury radiating from her. Where were you? Emma's voice was so quiet, so broken. Emma, I can explain. Where were you? I fell asleep at Ryan's. My phone died. I'm so sorry. Don't. Jessica stepped forward, holding up her phone. Someone at the bar took this last night. She showed me the screen, a photo of Sophia and me leaving together, her hand on my arm. Both of us laughing. It was already in the wedding group chat. 30 people had seen it. Emma stared at me, waiting. The silence was deafening. It was nothing, Emma. We just talked. It was stupid. I was drunk. It meant nothing. But Emma wasn't listening anymore. She was looking at me like I was a stranger. Jessica's voice cut through the room. Did you sleep with her? The question hung in the air, sharp and final. I could lie. I should lie. But when I looked into Emma's eyes, I saw she already knew. My silence was the confession. Emma's hands trembled as she pulled off her engagement ring and placed it on the table between us. With a soft click that sounded like a gunshot. I gave you 5 years, she whispered. I trusted you completely. I defended you to everyone who said you weren't ready for marriage, Emma. Please, and the night before our wedding, you chose her. My mother stepped forward. Emma, sweetheart, people make mistakes. You two love each other. You can work through this. This isn't a mistake, Susan. Emma's voice was steady now, cold. A mistake is forgetting an anniversary or saying the wrong thing. This was a choice. He chose to leave his bachelor party, chose to go to her apartment, chose to betray everything we built. I'm sorry, I'm so sorry, I defended you. Her voice cracked. When my parents said you weren't mature enough, when Jessica said you still seemed unsure, I told them they were wrong, that you loved me, that you never hurt me. I do love you. No. She shook her head. If you loved me, you wouldn't have done this. You loved the idea of me. But when it came down to it, when you had to actually choose me, you didn't. She turned toward the door. Still wearing that beautiful white dress that would never walk down an aisle. Emma, wait. She stopped, looking back one last time. I hope it was worth it. Then she was gone, Jessica following close behind. The door closing with terrible finality. My mother's voice was heavy with disappointment. What have you done? I couldn't answer. I sank to the floor. Surrounded by wedding decoration centerpieces, place cards, a banner that read "Forever starts tomorrow." My phone buzzed. Ryan asking what happened. I didn't respond. I just sat there, understanding that I'd destroyed the best thing in my life for a night I could barely remember. Asterisk, the cancellation fees came first. The venue kept half our deposit, $3,000. The caterer charged us for the food they'd already prepared, the photographer, the florist, the DJ. Everyone wanted their money. Emma's father, David, called me. You're covering all of this. You caused this mess. You pay for it. I'll pay everything. You're damn right you will. He hung up. I called Emma every day. She never answered. I sent long texts, apologies, explanations, desperate pleas for another chance. After a week, I realized she blocked me. I showed up at the elementary school where she taught. Jessica met me in the parking lot. If you don't leave right now, I'm calling the police, she said. I just need to talk to her. She doesn't want to talk to you. She doesn't want to see you. She doesn't want anything from you except for you to leave her alone. Jessica, please, you don't get to do this. You don't get to make her feel guilty or uncomfortable because you're hurting. You did this. Now deal with it. She turned and walked away. My friends were divided. Ryan kept trying to make me feel better. Everyone makes mistakes. Man, you're being too hard on yourself. But Marcus, one of my groomsmen who'd been married for 3 years, had a different perspective. We met for coffee and he didn't waste time. You're not the victim here, he said bluntly. Stop acting like you are. I know that, do you? Because you keep calling Emma, showing up at her work, sending texts. That's not taking responsibility. That's harassment. I just want to fix this. You can't fix this. It's done. The best thing you can do is leave her alone and learn from it. Tom, another groomsman, had barely spoken to me since everything happened. I tried calling Sophia, thinking maybe she could help somehow. She answered on the 4th ring, sounding annoyed. What do you want? Everything fell apart. Sophia, Emma left me. The wedding's canceled and I thought you understood it was just for fun. Don't drag me into your drama. You said Emma didn't need to know. You said it was just like old times. Oh my God, grow up. You made your choices. I didn't force you to do anything. She hung up. I realized then that she never cared about me. I was just an ego boost, a conquest, proof she still had power over me, and I'd thrown away everything for that. 3 months passed like a prison sentence. I couldn't bring myself to move out of our apartment. Emma's books were still on the shelf, her coffee mug in the cupboard, her handwriting on the calendar, marking days that would never happen. I hadn't dated anyone. I barely left the house except for work. Then one night, scrolling through Instagram, I saw Emma's story. She was at a gallery opening, smiling, really smiling for the first time in months. She looked lighter somehow, like a weight had been lifted, and there was a man in some of the photos, tall, kind-looking, laughing at something she said. My chest tightened. I clicked on his profile, Daniel, architect, 31 years old. The comments on Emma's recent post showed they'd met through mutual friends. Jessica had commented with heart emojis. Even Marcus's wife had liked the photos. The people who used to be part of my life were celebrating Emma moving on while I was still drowning. I wanted to hate him, to find reasons why he wasn't good enough for her. But I couldn't. In the photos, he looked at Emma the way I used to look at her, like she was the most important person in the world. The way I should have kept looking at her. Ryan came over that night with beer and pizza. You need to get back out there, man. Start dating again. I don't want to date. You can't just sit here forever feeling sorry for yourself. Why not? That's what I deserve. Look, Emma's moved on. You saw the Instagram posts. She's with that architect guy. It's time for you to move on too. I don't want someone new, Ryan. I want Emma. Well, you can't have her, so what's your plan? Just exist, wait around hoping she'll come back. Maybe. He shook his head. That's pathetic. Man, maybe it was, but the thought of being with someone else, of pretending to care about someone the way I cared about Emma, made me sick. I wanted to undo that night. I wanted to wake up in my bed with 17 missed calls and actually go to the venue. Like I was supposed to, but time doesn't work that way. Asterisk work became impossible. I'd sit at my desk staring at my computer screen, seeing nothing. My boss, Richard, noticed. Can I see you in my office? I followed him, knowing what was coming. Your performance has declined dramatically over the past few months, he said. You're calling in sick, missing deadlines, and when you are here, you're not really here. What's going on? Personal issues. I'm working through them. I understand that, but this can't continue. I need you to either get it together or consider taking a leave of absence. I'll do better, I promise, but I didn't do better. I couldn't focus on anything except Emma building a life without me. She was thriving while I was barely surviving. One night, drunk and desperate, I created a fake Instagram account just to watch her stories without her knowing. I saw her at dinner with Daniel, at the park with Jessica, at a friend's wedding, laughing in a bridesmaid dress. She wasn't posting about being sad or missing me. She was simply living, and I wasn't part of that life anymore. My mother showed up unannounced one Saturday. When I opened the door, her face fell. Oh, sweetheart. The apartment was a disaster. Empty bottles lined the counter. I hadn't shaved in weeks. Dirty dishes filled the sink. She didn't ask permission, just walked in and started cleaning. After an hour, she sat me down. You did this to yourself, she said. And her words cut deeper than any anger could have. And now you have two choices. You can keep drowning in what you've lost, or you can learn from this and become a better person. I just want her back. She's not coming back. And even if she did, would you be worthy of her? Look at yourself. You're not the man she fell in love with. You're not even the man you used to be. I don't know how to fix this. You start by letting go. You don't get to harass Emma or make her feel guilty for moving forward. You lost that. Right the night you betrayed her, her words stung because they were true. I wasn't the victim in this story. I was the villain. 6 months after the wedding that never happened, I walked into a coffee shop and saw Emma. She was with Daniel, holding his hand across the table. My heart stopped. She looked up and saw me. For a moment, neither of us moved. Daniel noticed the tension. Everything okay? Emma nodded, took a breath and stood up. Give me a minute. She walked over to me. Hi. I could barely breathe. Hi, you look happy. I really am. We stood there awkwardly, the air thick with everything unsaid. I'm sorry. I finally managed. I'm so sorry, Emma. I ruined everything. I think about it every single day. I wish I could take it back. She looked at me with something that might have been compassion, but definitely not love. I know you're sorry, but sorry doesn't change what happened. You made a choice that showed me who you really were in that moment. I was drunk. I was stupid. You were scared. Scared of commitment, scared of growing up, scared of being responsible for someone else's happiness. And when you got scared, you sabotaged us. That's not. I stopped. She was right. As much as it hurt, I'm grateful I found out before we got married, she continued. Before we had kids, before I invested even more of my life into someone who wasn't ready. I am ready now. I've changed. I'm glad you're growing. I really am, but I've moved on. And you need to as well. Daniel appeared beside her, placing a protective hand on her back. He extended his other hand to me. I've heard a lot about you, he said. Not unkindly. Take care of yourself. It wasn't aggressive or territorial. It was just genuine. He was a good man who treated Emma the way she deserved. They walked out together and I watched them go, understanding finally that this chapter of my life was closed. Emma wasn't coming back. She didn't hate me, but she didn't love me anymore either, and somehow that was worse. A year after the wedding that never happened, I sat in Dr. Miller's office, finally starting to understand what I'd done to myself. You sabotaged the relationship because commitment felt like losing freedom, she said. But what is freedom, really? I don't know anymore. Freedom isn't the absence of commitment. It's the ability to choose. You were free with Emma, free to be yourself, free to build a future, free to love and be loved. You threw away real freedom for an illusion. I'd reconnected with Marcus and Tom. They appreciated that I'd stopped making excuses and started taking responsibility. Ryan and I weren't as close anymore. His refusal to acknowledge the seriousness of what I'd done had created a rift I didn't know how to bridge. Then I saw Emma's engagement announcement on social media. She was marrying Daniel. The ring was beautiful and her smile was radiant. Jessica posted photos from the proposal, and I could see how genuinely happy Emma was. It hurt, but differently now, not the desperate, drowning pain of the early days, but a quiet ache of acceptance. That night, I wrote Emma a letter I knew I'd never send. Dear Emma, I know I have no right to write to you, and I'll never send this, but I need to say it anyway. Thank you for the 5 years we had together. You made me a better person, even if I couldn't see it then. I'm sorry I betrayed you. I'm sorry I wasn't the man you deserved. You're marrying Daniel now, and from everything I've seen, he treats you the way I should have. I'm happy for you, truly. You deserve every beautiful moment ahead. I hope you never think of me I hope I'm just a distant memory, a lesson learned, a chapter closed, because you should be free. Of the pain I caused, I'm learning to be better, maybe not for you, but for whoever comes next. And maybe that's the best thing I can do, learn from losing you so I never make this mistake again. Goodbye, Emma. Thank you for everything. I burned the letter, watching the paper curl and blacken, letting go of the last thread connecting me to a past I couldn't change. Asterisk, her name was Claire, and I met her through work. She was a graphic designer, creative, honest, and patient with my emotional baggage. On our third date, I told her everything about Emma, about Sophia, about what I'd done. Thank you for telling me, she said. I appreciate the honesty. I need you to know I'm not that person anymore. People can change, but honesty and respect are non-negotiable for me. If you ever feel tempted to stray, to lie, to hide something, we're done immediately. No second chances. I understand, and I did. I didn't take her for granted. I didn't play games or test boundaries. I showed up when I said I would. I communicated openly. I treated every moment with her as something valuable that could be lost. My mother noticed the change. I'm proud of you, she said one Sunday over lunch. For what? For growing up, for learning, for not letting that mistake define you forever. Marcus invited me to his daughter's birthday party. It felt like forgiveness, like trust slowly being rebuilt. Even Tom texted occasionally to check in. I'd built a new life from the ashes of the old one. It was smaller, quieter, more careful, but it was honest. Sometimes I still thought about Emma, about the wedding that never happened, about the life we could have had. But I didn't torture myself with those thoughts anymore. She was happy with Daniel. They were building something real, and I was learning to build something real with Claire. One honest conversation at a time. The past didn't disappear, but it didn't have to define the future either. Emma's wedding day arrived on a perfect Saturday in June. I knew because Jessica had posted about it, getting ready for my best friend's big day. With photos of bridesmaid dresses and champagne, I deliberately avoided social media instead. I drove to the beach where Emma and I had our first date. The sand was warm beneath my feet as I sat and watched the waves. I let myself remember the laughter, the inside jokes, the quiet Sunday mornings making pancakes, the plans we'd made together. I mourned what we'd had and what I'd destroyed. But I also accepted that this was how the story had to end. I made a choice, and choices have consequences. I didn't get a redemption arc with Emma. I didn't get forgiveness or a second chance. What I got was the lesson that love is a choice you make every single day. Not just when it's easy or convenient, but especially when it's challenging. I chose wrong when it mattered most, and someone else stepped up to choose right. That evening, I returned home. Claire was making dinner, and she looked up when I walked in. How are you doing? She asked gently. I'm okay, I said, and I meant it. She hugged me, understanding without me having to explain. I wasn't the hero of this story. I was the cautionary tale, the person who had everything and threw it away for nothing. But maybe that was okay. Maybe being the cautionary tale meant I could help someone else avoid my mistakes. That night, lying in bed, I thought about Emma one last time. I wished her happiness. I hoped Daniel never took her for granted. I knew she deserved every beautiful moment ahead. And then I let her go finally, completely understanding that sometimes the most loving thing you can do is accept that someone is better off without you. The past would always be there, a scar I'd carry, but scars are just proof that you survived something, and I was finally learning how to survive. The end.